Salutations, ladies and gentlemen. The Streaming Enderman here, and this video should have been uploaded on Christmas, but, well, things didn't go according to plan, so I'm uploading it today. Now, first off, Merry Christmas to all of you, for those who celebrate it, and today I'll be taking a look at something I teased in a video I made a few days ago. And this is arguably my favorite knife. If you don't know why that title could be snatched so easily, oh, you'll know why in a minute. Now, I got the idea for this knife from a video I watched quite some time ago from Patty's Potato Peelers. For those who recognize him, good, and for those who don't, I recommend you go check him out. And Patty, if you're watching this, thank you for introducing me to Michael May knives. You and Slick Slicers do a great job at that. But quite some time ago, back in October, I ordered a custom knife from Michael May. For those who don't know who Michael May is, he's a maker from Sheffield who works entirely on his own and makes custom knives. Now, this came with the package, which was rather squished, sadly. But as you can see here, here's his card. That's Michael right there, the artisan himself. And comes with a little certificate, and it just says your knife, pattern, Wharncliffe jackknife, blade steel C70, handle material bog oak, date 3rd December 2021, and it has been signed. So this came along with the knife, and the knife came wrapped in tissue paper right here, and inside the tissue paper was a little Ziploc style bag, but I just put that down here, and I'm using this as a base to put the knife on just so it can rest in the box without getting damaged. So, simple cardboard box, nothing to it really. But it's not the box, it's what's inside the box. This right here, I don't know if the video can't even pick up how nice this is. This is the knife I ordered from Michael, and it is a swell end jack, so as you can see, it gets fatter back here, and it's a bit of a sway back as well, and it has a very strong pull, by the way. Did you hear that snap? Here, listen to that again. Don't know if the camera can pick that up, but really, really strong snap. And here it is. As you can see right there, we've got a really, really nice Wharncliffe blade with a swedge on one side. We've got a choil under here. The bolsters are brass. Of course, they were mirror polished when the knife first arrived, but in the couple days it took, they've already taken a bit of a darker overall finish. As you can see, that's just what brass does. It ages. But I think that the thing I'm most excited for was this. This, for those who don't know, is bog oak. Now, bog oak isn't your everyday oak wood. Most oak wood probably looks more like this. Bog oak, according to Michael's website, this piece is English oak that has been buried in a peat bog for around 5,000 years. And the irons react with the wood to cause this dark, almost ebony-like color, even though, well, most oak is really light. It also preserves the wood so it doesn't rot. So yeah, I have wood that's older than some of the pyramids. That was something I was really excited to get. And this is something that you really just don't ever see. Michael does hand file work. Now, he puts the knife together, sands it and finishes it, takes it apart again just to do the file work, and you're only paying a little bit extra. So really, it's a brilliant, brilliant bargain. As you can see here, it goes to the very back of the spring, all up the entire back spring, and look at that. It even goes onto the blade. Now, this video is probably going to be be me rambling a lot about how good the fit and finish on this knife is, because it is really good. Especially when you consider this is entirely handmade. Michael doesn't use any machines or factory process. No, this knife was made start to finish by one man, and that man is this guy. Hats off to you, Michael. Your work is incredible. So, yeah, this is entirely handmade. So let's go over the fit and finish a little bit, and I'll explain why I love this knife so much. So, let's start with the pins. Incredibly flush, no sticking out, nothing like that. Very good on this side. Very good on that side. Transitions from bolsters to covers are pretty good. You could argue there's a tiny bit of change, but really, when you consider you're going from smooth brass to more coarse oak. I mean, it's the texture of oak. What do you expect? But the transitions are very good. Of course, the file work, which is done by hand, is beautiful. It's a nice pattern that I've also seen used by Lee White, who Michael May trained as his apprentice. The blade, centering, let's check centering. Okay, so centering could be better, but really when you consider it's not rubbing, so it's not wrecking the functionality of the knife, it's still going to work really well. It's almost centered just a little bit that way, but nonetheless, it's still good. The nail nick is nice and deep, and the spring tension is really good. I'd probably rate this at about 9. The only knife I had that was sharper, that was harder to open with a nail nick was my Arthur Wright & Son Lambfoot. That I'd probably put closer to like 10. I even broke a nail on that once. Oh, a couple things I did forget. Blade play, none whatsoever. Up, down, side to side, nothing. Which is really good because blade play is one of the things I find very difficult to ignore on a knife. It does have a little bit of scuffing. Now, I know this will bother some people, but it doesn't actually bother me. I don't know if you can see that, if the camera can pick it up. But there is some blade scuffing going on right in there. Now, that doesn't bother me because you don't see it when the knife is closed. You don't see it when the knife is open. You really only see it if you're closing it halfway, even though it doesn't even have half stops. So it really doesn't bother me that much. But there is one thing, and this is an ongoing issue with Michael's knives, I've noticed. His knives tend to have poor stamping quality. And I say this because I'm going to have to zoom in super close here. It says M.A. Sheffield, but see that down there? Down there? Yeah. That's supposed to say England. But I don't know about you, but that's terribly hard to read. All I see is M.A. Sheffield. England is buried in the bolster. You will never be able to see that, which is kind of sad. But it's an ongoing thing with Michael's knives. I hope he fixes that eventually. There we go. Got some better lighting going on now. I'm planning on getting a lighting kit, and it will hopefully make the quality of these videos much better. Stop pin down there, brass stop pin. Brass liners, bolsters, and pins. The blade steel, I'm already waiting for it. You've got the modern super steel fans who are going to lose their minds and say, oh, they're using C70, it's a bad steel. Okay, yes. It's a bad steel, but I have 2 questions. Can it cut? Well, to answer this, I decided to check that question and get an answer. Can that steel cut? So, I don't know. What would be the best way to check? Try to cut something. This is a piece of paper I often use for cutting, as you can see by the cut marks on it. Tip. Good. And edge. Let's see if it can cut. I think that that's a pretty clear answer. It can indeed cut. Now, another question. Can it be sharpened? Yes, I've already tried sharpening this, and it sharpens up beautifully. For a steel such as this, it sharpens up quite well. I think that the thing about this knife that I like so much is that it fits in the crossroads. It's not purely a spectacularly fancy, you can only use this for, putting in a shelf and never using. But at the same time, it's not just, this knife is incredibly ugly, and the only thing anyone would use it for is cutting, and they would never look at it as something of beauty. This one fits the perfect in-between. It's user-friendly, comfortable, easy to use, good steel, good blade shape. But at the same time, it is beautiful. It's a perfect combination of the two. I don't even know if you can see, but the connection from the spring to the blade is really quite good. It may not look like it, but it is. Gapping on this is non-existent, really. I mean, if you hold it up to the light, you can almost see some gaps in here. So it would be up there, but really not a problem. Definitely not to the point where you'd have to worry about it actually hurting the functionality of the knife. And plus the file work actually hides gapping, and I quite like that. But nonetheless, these are still really well-made knives. Let's do some comparisons quickly. Here it is with another Sheffield knife, one of unfortunately lower quality. Here it is next to the Joseph Rogers & Sons Rosewood Wharncliffe. So you're looking at a similar pattern, but smaller. Here it is next to the Joseph Rogers Lambfoot. So, another Sheffield design. Quality on this one's still better, but this is quite the knife, I must say. Here it is next to a very similar knife, in actually quite the many ways, the Arthur Wright & Son Ettrick. And I say this because they're both Wharncliffes, they're both C70 carbon steel, both have darker wood covers with brass pins and brass liners, and they're both traditional Sheffield patterns, so these two are good to compare. One thing is this is using nickel bolsters while this is using brass. Nickel looks nicer when it's new, but brass looks nicer when it's been used. That's just my opinion. I like the aged look that brass obtains. And here it is next to the Case Swayback, and that's the vintage bone version. So again, similar design. Blade shape is the same. Got the kind of swayback handle, but this one is much smaller. If you haven't already been able to tell, I quite like my swayback Wharncliffes. They are some of my favorite knives because, as I said, they look nice and they're utilitarian. But of course, no matter what, this one right here, it's always going to be at the top of my list. I mean, I love the Case to death. It's a great little secondary knife. Really nice action. The Ettrick may be a good whittler, very comfortable in the hand. And as much as I like the Joseph Rogers, it it lacks the fit and finish that this one has. And at the end of the day, out of all the swaybacks I have, this one will, and probably really will always be my favorite. I highly doubt any other swayback Wharncliffe would ever be able to take its place, unless, of course, I buy another Michael May swayback Wharncliffe, which may or may not happen. But I'm sorry this video is a bit rambly. I admit that I am super happy to have this at last, and I just, hats off to Michael. He is such a good knife maker. These knives are truly wonderful, and I'd almost go the extra mile to say, I'm waiting for the war in the comments, these may even be better than GEC. I said it. I said it, and I don't care. You can call me wrong all you want, but I've seen quite a few videos of people saying GEC can have bad gapping and blade wobble. This has no blade wobble, and this has no gapping. And when was the last time you saw GEC do hand file work? But really, you could get one of these for less than a GEC. And it's entirely handmade with whatever blade shape you want, whatever handle you want. And you can ask Michael for whatever steel you want too. You could ask for C70, C75, 01 tool steel, D2. I'm pretty sure he does make D2. Sheffield SF100, which I'm curious to try. I believe the back springs are either D2 or 420HC, so you don't have to worry about them corroding, which is good, because my Arthur Wright Lambfoot had a carbon steel back spring like this one, and because carbon steel becomes more brittle, it snapped clean off. And, well, I'm waiting for a replacement from the famous Sheffield shop. But nonetheless, if you want something like this, which, if you're at all interested in traditional knives, especially, very classy traditional knives, I would absolutely recommend one of these to you. They are not that expensive. You can get whatever handle material you so desire. You can choose to have the really nice file work. You can even get Damascus steel. And really, you're just getting a well-made knife that's made with love. You don't see that very much nowadays. I've tried comparing this to other knives I own, and it's the only one that has this feel. A Case, well, yeah, they're made by Case, and Case goes on about, their products being their heritage and such, but I don't know who made this, and I probably never will. Probably the person who made this wouldn't know, because they were made in a factory. These are made by a couple people, but once again, you don't feel the same custom, I guess, an aura of custom that this has. This looks and feels like a made-to-order knife. This doesn't, to the same extent. And the Joseph Rogers, same thing. I have no idea who made this, and I bet whoever made this wouldn't know either. Because it's, well, it's made in a factory. Heck, my arguably favorite knife of all time, the Opinel. I love these knives to bits. I have collected more Opinels than I have collected any other knife, and I plan on continuing that. They're inexpensive, they're well made, the steel is superb, the cutting power is incredible, the design is timeless, and the options you have are incredible. You can have something as simple as this, or you could have polished ebony with an inlay of amethyst. Okay, I don't know about that, but even these are factory made. They're not handmade. I would not know who made this, and probably whoever was working at the factory wouldn't know either, because they all look and feel the same. They're still wonderful knives, and I'd recommend them to anyone, but they don't have that feel. This, right here, does. I know exactly who made this from start to finish. I know who sanded the wood, who fit the pins, who did this file work, who sharpened the blade, and his name is Michael May. I couldn't tell you the name of any other knife maker. But this is the only one that is pure custom, made by one single guy. And there's something just really special about that. And when you consider, it's a really well-made knife made entirely by hand. Not even GEC can do that. GEC, even though they assemble them and sharpen them and such, they are still getting factory stamped out blades. They're not hand forging each and every one of them. And they aren't entirely made by hand. There's still a production line. This is something Slick Slicer said. Even Ottermessers, and I love Ottermessers, same thing. They are all really the same. There may be slight differences, but at the end of the day, if you show them to 4 people who worked at the factory, no one's going to know who made it. This, if I showed this to Michael, he'd know he made it because, well, he's Michael May, and this is a Michael May knife. So I just really like that custom feel. But sorry for that ramble. It's probably unnecessary. I didn't need to go through it. The point is that I'm trying to get across. This knife is superb. It's inexpensive for a custom. Some customs you're paying upwards of $300 plus. This is an inexpensive custom with, wood that's older than some of the pyramids. It's assembled and finished by hand with this beautiful vine pattern in the back. Everything about it is just so cleanly made. No gaps, no moving parts that shouldn't be. This is a solid knife. That is something that you don't see every day. This knife is just, it's brilliant. It's perfectly sized, and I could definitely see myself using this constantly if it wasn't for one thing. Got some more videos coming soon. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this video. This is the kind of knife where I'm already not satisfied with this video, but I'm going to publish it anyway because I don't want to keep you waiting. But I will make another video similar to what Patty did. He did a first impressions video of his version of this. He bought this knife in micarta, blue micarta. And I'm going to do, this is like my first impressions video because I haven't even owned this for a week, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I haven't even had this for a week. So this knife is going to be something you're probably going to be seeing again. And yes, this is my first impressions of it, and I'll probably do a more long-term review video in maybe a week or 2. But nonetheless, I really hope you enjoyed this video. This knife is brilliant. I'd recommend something like this to anyone. I'm very happy I got it, and I hope that you can go check Michael out, go see his work, maybe buy a knife for yourself. He was very busy over Christmas, but now that that's over, he's probably having fewer requests. Here are his contact addresses. Sorry. My voice. But here's his website, www.michaelmayknives.com. Here's his email, inquiries@michaelmayknives.com. And there's his address if you live nearby and you wish to visit him. And I do believe he does in-person visits. I don't know if you have to schedule them or not. But nonetheless, this is really just, it's a great knife. It's a simply amazing knife. I'd recommend it to virtually anyone, provided they like traditional knives. So, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell, all that fancy stuff. Make sure to comment. I don't normally get that many comments, and I really enjoy reading them. So if you managed to make it to the end of the video, thank you very much, and yeah, I look forward to seeing what you have to say in the comments about this knife. Share any experiences you may or may not have had with Michael May, any knives you may want to see in the future, and all that. So, this has been the Michael May Knives, Wharncliffe's way back with bog oak and C70 carbon steel. And this is the Streaming Enderman. As always, signing off. Goodbye.